Hi, I just want to show you how easy Stats with Humanagement makes inputting a lot of data and viewing it and playing around with it, and your stat day can just be a breeze. So this is what I call a stat sheet view. It's basically a spreadsheet. So I can really easily go in here and just kind of play with numbers, input them. I can even copy from one cell over. And if I want all those to be the same one, I can really easily add those values. Additionally, these are calculating stats up here and down here. So you can see that as I type in this number here, it updates this one, and then it also updates that. And that's because these are calculating on top of each other. You can also really easily look at this like weekly data. And if I want to look at this monthly, I can just click monthly over here. And it's going to total that for that period. So now I can see that higher view. And let's say I want to see this graphed. One way I can do that is I can click on here and I can create a chart from that selection, or I can click here. Now there's some difference, some variation. I can decide I only want to see this one plus this one. Now I can just see those two even though they're not next to each other. So this gives me a really quick and easy way to kind of play around and view and look at data. If I want to now take this and go over to another view, I have stat list view. So here I can just kind of click through stats and easily see them fully graphed. Here I have a lot of stats for the same metric, calls out with different employees. So if I want to, I can do something like compare stats. And I can select a range. You can see all those values I inputted earlier. And now I can see how this employee compares in that time period. And I can click through and add as many employees, I think up to 5 stats I can compare. This one obviously produced a lot better than these ones, so I can say, oh, what's this person doing? I can also look at this one stat and I can compare range. So here I'm going to compare how this person did against an earlier period. So I can see and look, okay, how are you doing versus last year or anything like that? I can play around and see how those numbers match up. This also is fast to input because I can just input the numbers through here. So I can just type in a number there and then, yeah, see, so it showed up right there for this next week that's coming out. Additionally, because like I said, these are calculating stats. So this is per call. This is pulling in this calculating stat, which is adding all these employees up together. And this one's looking at more of a ratio of how many dollars they're making per call out. So total calls out and then gross income. So I'm combining calculating stats. I could also alternatively do a number here and I can see what that is multiplied by 100 or divided if I want to do any sort of calculation or anything like that. And then I can also look at like, so I have a stat here, I can do something like a inverted stat, which then look back at it. Now this number is showing me with the bottom at the top and the top at the bottom, and those colors and stuff change. I can also change these colors. So if I don't like this theme, I want black and red, or I want my company colors, I can do that as well. And of course, you can really easily see and total up stats because they do show those values over here. So another thing that this does really well is I can look at like accumulating values. So I don't need to manually look at, how are these values adding up towards that quarter, towards that year. I can also look at stats as a stat grid view. So here I can see either 2 or 3 stats at a time, and I can do the bulk printing from this view because all the stats are loaded. This has really a lot of ways that you can play with data. This is kind of just scratching the surface on what it can do. We also feature a lot of integrations. So if you want stats that come automatically for every time you get a support email or a new review, all that stuff is really easy to set up and automate. We can help you with that if you need it. And this just makes keeping track of all your stats and kind of playing with and evaluating these numbers just as easy as possible. Lots of filtering options in here. If you want to view things by grids or by tags, if you set up tags, you can say, okay, I want to see all the stats that would be part of any number that you want. So this really just makes it easy for you to play. It's modern, it's fast, and it makes managing stats a breeze.